welcome back to the bonus room addition project. So in the previous video on the Instagram page, if you saw that, what we're doing here in this room, this is a bonus room up above a garage space. So we're on the second story here, which is why you see this wood decking instead of concrete foundation. So in this space, we're going to be creating two rooms in this one big room space. So we're going to be adding a partition wall. In the space where the camera is right now, there'll be bunk beds, so two king-size beds and some full-size beds above it. And then over in this other space on the other side of the room will be a single king bed, and there'll be a door right here that'll lead into this space, and then a door here that will go into the attic space. And so that attic space on the other side of this wall, obviously we'll be finishing out as well, and that's where the bathroom walk-in closet will be. So in thinking through this with the customer, talking about how they're wanting to use this space, we bring the trades out. So we brought the electrician, the plumber, the HVAC contractor, and start brainstorming and looking at what we currently have here in this room. So if you look up here, I think I need to get closer to the camera. Up above, right up there, you can see the bottom of it, is a mini split. So that air conditioning unit is currently supplying conditioned air to this whole entire space. But when we add a partition here, that's a little bit of a challenge now because there won't be an air duct supplying air into that room. So when you get on the other side, we'll do some video in there as well here shortly in the attic space, brainstorming what's the best way to condition that space so that both rooms are equally comfortable. So when people are staying here, sleeping here, that room over there isn't going to be warmer than this side if only air is being supplied into this room alone. So figuring out how to tie into the electrical for the HVAC system, how to tie into the HVAC system itself, what's the most cost-effective way to do it. So one really important thing that we had to factor in is where's the electrical service? Where's the main power source coming from the street into the house? Which side of the house is that on? Because typically when you're adding new electrical equipment, you're going to need to add a 220 service for it. And so fortunately for this customer, his main electrical service is outside this wall. And so in between there, though, he has a large RV garage. So he had some work done before where fortunately in the attic space, they actually already have a scuttle hole cut in the wall there where they actually already ran some mechanical equipment through there. So fortunately for this customer, he's already been through this process once before. So we have access, we've got the power over there. Now, how do we tie it in, make the most sense, especially since that space back there behind it is going to be living space as well. Now there's going to be a bathroom there. So when we get on the other side, you'll see what we're working with. You'll see kind of the thought process we have when we're talking to the customer as to what's going to fit the budget, what's going to make the most sense. Is it going to be feasible with where the power is located, which we know in this project it is. But I wanted you guys to get exposed a little bit as to the thought process that you have to go through, especially when doing a remodel. It may not always be feasible to build a new house, to have brand new construction. And so a lot of people consider updating their current living space, adding to it, doing an addition. But there's some of the things that you need to think about and prepare for and kind of mull over as to what do I really want for the space? How am I going to make it happen? Is it possible to make it happen without it just being excessively expensive? So let's take a look in the attic on the other side and see what we're working with over there.
Here we are now in the attic space. So, as previously mentioned, bonus room is right here behind this wall. So, we'll be removing all of the shelving. There will be a new door here which will lead into the bathroom, and then off of the bathroom you'll be able to access the new walk-in closet. So space-wise, what we'll be looking at is the new toilet will be over there where that current HVAC duct is, and the shower will be right about here where this ductwork is, and the walk-in closet will be right about here. So in thinking about this with the HVAC contractor, we're going to have to reroute this ductwork, reroute this exhaust vent which comes from the laundry room, exhausting the air out of that room, and then we'll have to get creative with redoing this ductwork here as well, which goes down into a closet space, which is beneficial to us because that space not as important to keep conditioned as a regular living space, a bedroom, something like that. So we'll have to get creative with how we are able to get that back into the new floor system. That is the access point I was talking about before, where across the RV garage we will need to go across that space, through that attic space of the RV garage, down to the exterior wall where the main service of the home comes into the house. And you can see this bundle of wires here, where these service wires are already coming from to supply the 220 service to the house. So in here, this is what we're looking at with the homeowner, with the contractors, deciding how to best utilize this space, what's going to make the most sense, what's going to be most cost affordable. Right here you can see that we have a drop in the space from the bonus room into here, which we were hoping was going to be a little bit more advantageous to us than it looks like it might be, because we prefer, when possible, to avoid having curbs in showers, where you can just have a nice smooth transition from the main bathroom floor into the shower with no step or no curb. So we prefer, where possible, to have a drop, and we're upstairs, so not as essential from an ADA standpoint. From if anybody needed to get a wheelchair into that shower, we're upstairs, so very unlikely that somebody's going to be coming up here that's needing the use of a wheelchair. But still, it would be nice to avoid having a curb. We might not be able to do that because we only have about 8 inches, and our subfloor in here is going to be 8 inches tall. But this is what the space is looking like. Here's some of the thought process of what we're going through, discussing with the customer how they want to utilize the space, what we have available, what we can do to keep the cost down as much as possible, and also not be too invasive to the existing systems, not overload the electrical systems, or not overload or throw off the balance of the air conditioning systems that are in this space. So I'm excited for you guys to see both sides of this, so the living space and how that will transform, but also this space, which isn't currently living space, which will be. So eventually there'll just be a wall here where you'll see the outside of the new structures. But here's everything that we are thinking through. Water tie-in. Oh, one important detail. There's drains here, drain lines. These are only 1.5 inch drain lines. We technically have to have 2-inch drain lines for the sink, and then a 3-inch drain line for the shower, 2-inch drain line for the sink and the shower, and a 3-inch drain line for the toilet, which will be over there. So what we're actually having to do for that, this exhaust pipe here is on the wall of the utility room, and that is the exhaust vent for the dryer down there. And so underneath the dryer in the utility room, the plumber's located the 3-inch line in the foundation. So we're actually having to chip into the foundation for adding this toilet. The toilet needs a 3-inch drain line, so we have to locate that, tie into it, so that toilet will function correctly. So once we tear into that as well, I'll get some footage of that, show you guys what that's looking like. But a lot of thinking, a lot of coordinating, a lot of figuring out how we're going to tie into all of these mechanicals from an electrical, plumbing, and air conditioning standpoint to make sure that these rooms are functional and comfortable for future use.